This has to be one of my best games in the Bourgogne, and I gotta show it from the start. I'm speed boosting right away, and that's because I spawned on the flank, there's no carrier, there's no subs to deal with, and Bourgogne is at its best when you're flanking, when you're able to get broadsides, when you're able to use this reload booster. The other thing is, I can actually get in front of this island on G1 on this flank, and still have a reasonable amount of time to get behind these islands without hopefully taking too much damage in the process. We're going to wait for this Hindenburg to go broadside. He's pushed in a little too aggressive, and we're going to see that Bourgogne, it hits pretty hard. We'll just take half his health real quick. And of course, we can reload boost and have another salvo in about 10 seconds or so, with a little bit of adrenaline rush kicked in there. But I'm not going to do that since the Hindenburg is about to get behind the island. And I'd really like to go dark since there is a, what is that? A Harugumo that's spamming me with my explosive. I'm dark at this point, so I'm just going to repair it and try and get behind this island. I know the immunity time is around 15 seconds, so I should be fine to get behind this island without taking a permanent fire. We even get an extra salvo out into the Thunder here, which, yeah, it's going to be pretty good as well. I love the Bourgogne. Honestly, guys, I do believe this ship is top 3 battleships in the game. And the other two, if you're wondering, Thunderer and Ohio. I do believe that, yeah, 3 premium battleships are the 3 best battleships. What a coincidence, right? But honestly, with those 3 battleships, you have the best combination of everything. The Thunderer, of course, has insane accuracy, insane reload, and, well, the HE is pretty broken, let's be honest. It's really stealthy and amazing at farming. The Ohio, better brawler, secondary ship, that fast cooldown heal really carries it. With a Monty hull, it's very hard to take that ship down, and of course, with 457s on both of those, the overmatch is amazing. But Bourgogne is different. Bourgogne does not have overmatch. It has great reload, it has this reload booster, it's got great speed, but it doesn't have the HP, and because of that, you have to play it very differently from something like a standard battleship, like the Ohio would probably fill. Bourgogne is a ship where you need to take advantage of this reload booster. It's really the whole thing about this ship. Its speed and its reload booster. It's basically a tier 9 ship with some gimmicks. Those gimmicks are very strong, but you just have to know that it's not going to be the full tank battleship. So even though I do think it's amazing, it's really not a standard tier 10 battleship playstyle. The Harugumo here is getting pushed back, but I'm still playing relatively conservatively. I'm not trying to push around this corner and try and tank 4 ships all at once, right? I need to play around these islands, and that's what I love about this map, assuming I'm able to get into a position like this. This map can be very boring and campy, but if there's an opportunity that opens up to push into these islands, it's so much fun. Taking 1v1s, playing around these islands, limiting the number of people firing at me, and trying to win games that way. It's really, really a good time. This Hindenburg tries to come around the corner and get a little greedy. Unfortunately, though, yeah, 5 overpens. That's the difficult thing about dealing with a Hindenburg at close range. It has turtleback that should only function against cruisers, really, but it really works quite well against battleships. For whatever reason, the AP gets bounced up and overpens only. It's really odd. We're gonna get another good salvo in here, 5 more overpens. So the reload booster is helping us do actually quite a bit of damage. These are 10k salvos, they're pretty good still. But I certainly would love to see some more full pens or maybe a few citadels. Yeah, a couple more even. If this Hindenburg were to angle to me, that 27mm armor would be auto-bouncing these shells as well. So the caliber is not the strong suit on the Bourgogne. But with that said, it's still a really fun ship to play. And if people do angle, there's always the HE. The HE on Bourgogne is probably too good, honestly. Plenty of people will play HE Bourgogne only. There's really not much need to swap to the armor piercing unless you're finding a super crucial, easy to hit citadel on a battleship or some cruiser that actually takes citadels like Minotaur, for example. HE is more than enough to do insane amounts of damage with this ship. But personally, I really don't enjoy that playstyle as much, but it is a completely viable way to play this ship. The Harugumo's on low health, and with the help of some teammates, we do manage to take him out, which is huge because Harugumo torps just hurt a little bit. The Bourgogne, though, is not that bad into torpedoes. It's got a large torpedo belt that spans most of the ship and has a pretty good reduction. I think it's in that 40% range, but still, with this low HP pool, we really don't want to be eating torpedoes. Honestly, Bourgogne is probably the best ship you can possibly get for steel. I think that there's an argument that could be made for Stalingrad, but for me personally, Bourgogne is the very best ship in the steel shop. I haven't played the Mecklenburg yet, but from what I've seen, it's probably not going to be this good. Yeah, 5 citadels, pretty good dispersion there. Unfortunately, we don't quite manage to finish a full health Thunderer off in one salvo, but a really, really strong result regardless. And we can always just fire our AP into his superstructure. This is something I've been talking about quite often, but if a battleship's angling to you, just shoot the AP into their superstructure. We got nearly 12k damage out of that. And we're going to pop our reload booster to make sure we finish off this Thunderer before we take any more damage. It's really, really flexible, this Bourgogne. And that's what I like about it. It's not stuck into being a sniper. It's not stuck into be a brawling ship reliant on secondaries and that kind of thing like some of the German ones are. This ship is good at close range, it's good at medium range, and it's good at long range. And with that ability, it can carry so many games. You'll notice this game is still pretty close, honestly. Even though we've already done 180,000 damage in 8 minutes, that's a pretty disgusting damage output already. And yet the game is still reasonably close. And that's why I really think this Bourgogne is the best steel ship. Its flexibility to be this good in so many different circumstances. I do think that there are better close-range battleships. I think there are better mid-range battleships. I think there are better long-range battleships than Bourgogne, but Bourgogne is near the top at everything, and that means this ship is going to work in basically every matchmaker circumstance. If there's submarines and carriers forcing you to stay back, well, that's fine. This ship is going to perform. If you can play at mid-range but not get into brawls because maybe there's some aggressive German battleships, or you don't really want to push into a bow on Des Moines, for example, it's still going to perform really well. And in a game like this, where we're able to flank and push into some island cover and play at reasonably close ranges, catching broadsides, well, that's where it's going to be at its absolute strength. This ship is probably the strongest battleship on flanks. And that's what I love, because flanking is one of the most interesting parts of this game. It requires map knowledge, it requires adapting to situations, it requires predicting what enemy ships are going to do, and of course, getting a little bit lucky as well. You'll notice this Des Moines bounced our shells when he was angled, and when he's broadside, he takes overpens. When he's broadside, he'll take citadels most of the time. If I had a reload booster available, I could pop it right now, and I'd have another salvo on the way. But ships aren't going to last broadside to a Bourgogne for very long. You'll notice our reload is approaching 20 seconds at this point. We have half HP with Adrenaline Rush. That is really, really fast for a reload. No cruiser can get a full turnout in that time. That's what makes Republic so special, is that you can fire at a bow-in angled cruiser. If they try to turn out, then, well, they're going to take another salvo before they get angled again, kiting away. I do make a mistake here, and I should have swapped to the HE here. I want to point this out. A bow on Yamato, we can do okay damage into his superstructure, but at these ranges, our dispersion just isn't quite good enough. So swapping to the HE is a great strategy against battleships. I personally hate it when a Bourgogne swaps to HE and I'm angled in a battleship like this Yamato. It's very, 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 very frustrating because I know that I'm going to take a lot of damage from it. It's the right way to play it, as much as it annoys me. So we're going to see just how much damage we're going to get in this next salvo. The Conqueror isn't really too much of a threat since he's also kiting away. The reason I try to stick with armor piercing and not swap to the HE is I don't want to miss out on those juicy AP Citadel salvos. But I could do with a little bit more HE usage since, yeah, we're going to get, what, 6,500 damage plus a fire. That brings us up to our high caliber at 210,000 damage. And these fires ticking on battleships are worth so much damage. It's kind of ridiculous how much fire damage stacks up. And that pairs so nicely with this reload booster. That's why you can play an HE only Bourgogne and it's going to work extremely well. Your fire chance is good, your shell velocity and dispersion is decent, and well, this reload is so good with a reload booster. If somebody damage controls a fire, pop your reload booster, you're gonna get 2 more salvos in 20 seconds, and that's basically guaranteed to light another fire. And permanent fires are going to net you a ton of damage. Although it's not as good as armor piercing into these broadsides. You'll notice I'm going to swap back to the AP here for this Republic. I am going to be running the expert loader skills, so we want to be able to swap shells quickly if we need to. And if you absolutely have to get a salvo out of a swapped shell type, well, you can swap your shells using expert loader and use the reload booster at the same time, meaning you can swap shells in 5 seconds. Since we have a 10-second reload with reload booster activated, and with the expert loader skill, that cuts that in half to swap shells. Unfortunately though, it does mean you miss out on a salvo or 2 from the reload booster, but for the most part, I don't actually end up using all of my reload boosters. You'll notice I still have 1 left, and it's actually not even going to be available before this game ends. So I do need to do a better job of using these reload boosters when they're available, since it's a ton of potential damage that I'm missing out on. And Bourgogne, while it is probably one of my highest average damage battleships, it could do a little bit higher if I was better at using these reload boosters. We get a little bit lucky into the Conqueror there. I certainly did not aim that one properly. I should have aimed a little farther forward, but it still managed to go in and hit his Citadel. Hindenburg at longer range means that his turtleback isn't quite as effective, and as a result, yeah, we managed to plunge one right into the Citadel. Confederate, Kraken, high caliber. What a game, honestly. I haven't had a game this good in Bourgogne in quite some time. And it's really not because the ship is bad, it's because I haven't been playing it too much, because I've been trying to play some other ships, newer ships, get some different content out there. And yep, that is 6 kills. Yeah, Bourgogne is awesome, man. I really haven't played the Mecklenburg yet, but I can't see it being better than this ship. I am very near to getting it though, so I will be getting some videos out on it soon. I do need to move though. I'm actually moving this weekend, so we'll see how that works out. Get a new place, new internet, and hopefully get that set up to play some Mecklenburg live on stream. As for the build, some of you probably noticed something that was a little bit odd for a Bourgogne. And yeah, I'm actually using manual secondaries on this ship. I've been enjoying a bit of a hybrid build on my Republic recently, and I decided to try it out on Bourgogne. And while I didn't really get much value out of these secondaries, it still means that we had an excellent game, even lacking in some concealment. You'll notice 14.6 isn't all that it could be. This ship gets down to 13.2, 13.4, somewhere in there, I think. Yeah, it's pretty disgusting to have that level of concealment, but I've been trying this out, seeing how it goes. But Grease the Gears is very useful, and this improved Adrenaline Rush gives us so much DPM. Gunfeeder, of course, is excellent for the reasons I pointed out earlier. Secondary builds on the French battleships aren't all that amazing. They do get the improved range, like the German battleships got, but not the improved accuracy. So they're quite inaccurate, and they don't have a lot of pen, but the fire chance is nuts. 9% on the small ones, and actually 12% on the big ones. So you're relying on fires with them primarily. They're decent for dealing with DDs in close range as well. That's maybe one of the reasons I'm liking to use them as well. It's just fun for me, but I don't recommend it. Secondaries really aren't all that useful here. Main battery is the way to go. We're getting the reload. I'm actually running steering gears. The ship is so hard to hit when it's using speed boost and steering gears at longer ranges. It's almost cruiser levels of maneuverability, which is really good considering our armor is pretty decent. 32 millimeters. It's overmatchable, pennable by a lot of HE, but with a very maneuverable, fast ship, it's really not going to take all that much damage. I have a lot of high potential damage games in this ship simply from the enemy team not being able to hit my ship, not because the armor is especially good. So that's the Bourgogne. Thank you very much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching this one. I know I had a lot of fun playing this one. I was really shocked with the result we ended up with, but I maybe shouldn't have been. Bourgogne is just that good. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.